Hello and welcome to another Star Wars Old Republic video. We are going to be talking about the PTS 7.0, that kind of stuff. So I've played over 80 hours already on the PTS for 7.0, and I've got a lot of stuff that I've been trying to learn from it, and let's share some of that with you. So there's a lot of changes about how your characters themselves are going to change, quality of life updates, and of course a new level cap and gearing is going to be a big topic. Alright, so let's start off with gearing, as this is one of the things that players will really want to know, how to efficiently grind up the new gear when the expansion drops. The current gear that you have on right now, your set bonuses, everything like that, will still work just fine. I've loaded up a character, copied him over. Yeah, you can just keep using that gear until you hit level 80. No worries. One thing I do want to mention is we're not 100% sure what they're going to be doing with existing set bonuses. Currently on the PTS it says these set bonuses are active from levels 75 to 79, but there's some conflicting information directly from BioWare saying that no, at level 76 you will no longer be able to use these set bonuses. Alright, so what do you want to actually do to prepare yourself to be able to maximize your gearing experience when 7.0 launches to be able to get the max gearing? Getting to level 80 is going to be the biggest thing. As soon as you hit level 80, you're going to be guaranteed to get 318 gear from the drops that you get, and you'll also have access to the implants researcher to do the quest to be able to buy the implants or legendaries, which are the new set bonuses. One thing that I would really suggest is making sure that the characters that you plan to farm your gear with and you want to hit level 80 with are either already a stealth class, or when you pick your second combat style, you're going to want to pick something that can stealth. So in terms of like the little checklist things you want to do is the character that you plan on using to farm gear and everything like that, that's going to be a stealther. Get them all caught up on the story. We don't know for certain if you'll be able to skip ahead to start the Legacy of the Sith story, or if you have to be caught up with the current story to do it. You're going to want to also consider bringing along any experience boosts you have with you so that you can speed up the leveling process if your goal is to hit that max item rating gear as fast as possible. Conquest tokens. This is actually something I'm very happy that I saved. I got these from the daily login rewards. There used to be another way to get them as well, but what they do is they grant personal conquest points. They now grant 100,000 to account for the fact that Conquest now takes 100,000 to hit your personal target. And the reason why this is so nice for grinding gear is it gives me 200 medals of accommodation. So why is that really important to you? Well, if we look at the Conquest gear vendor, the first 320 gear that you can just straight up buy from a vendor, it's going to take 200 medals of accommodation to buy that set. Looking at how the stats are with the scaling on the PTS and where your numbers are actually going to be and where they need to be to hit some of the new thresholds, I'm highly suggest having a whole bunch of the existing augments ready to go for when you hit level 80, because as of right now, the gear that they're going to give you is non-moddable and you cannot change any of the stats. So the biggest one right now is accuracy. Accuracy is, you're just not going to get enough accuracy. So there's a lot of different things that can play with not having enough accuracy. So I would stockpile some accuracy augments. And the last thing that I really want to suggest for preparing as well is tech frags. If you look at the legendaries, 6,500 tech frags, that's a very large amount of tech frags. So tech frags is going to be a bit of an issue, as you know from buying set bonuses in 6.x. So how am I stockpiling tech frags to make this grind easier when I get to level 80? Well, the way that I've always been stockpiling tech frags to make it easier to buy stuff whenever I want. The group finder daily bonus crates or the login reward will sometimes give you tech frags inside of them. So this crate I've copied over from the existing character. It had 400 tech frags in it before. I'm going to hit take all, and you can see I don't gain the 400 that it necessarily had in it before, but I'm still gaining tech frags. It's going to allow me to buy those legendaries a lot faster, as I don't have to worry about being at the 11,000 tech frag cap and then finding a way to farm additional tech frags. Yeah, farm a ton of Taboros Courtyard right now, and if you're not a subscriber, you can still get these from doing the flashpoints. I think is it once a week or is it once a day? So the last item that's kind of on the list when it comes to preparing for the gear grinding, you're going to want to learn how to do heroics most likely, as this is the primary way for farming up the aquatic resource matrix. And don't worry, I'll be putting out videos on this before 7.0 drops. So let's talk about the class changes now and what you can kind of expect there. There's not a lot that you actually need to do with the majority of classes to prepare. Some of the rotations are definitely changing. A lot of them are staying the same. The general theme that I've been noticing with the new way of picking your stuff is they've given us this ability tree. We no longer have utilities. The ability tree combines both passives and active abilities. Any row where you see 3 abilities, that means that you actually have to make a choice as to which ability you want to take out of those. Basically, what I'm seeing here is most classes have been given some additional options to help them with dealing more AoE damage, or cleave as I like to call it a lot of times. And there's a lot of choices where you have to choose between defensives. And then when we go and we look down at a further tree, you'll notice again, phase walk versus a long duration force lift and telekinetic blitz. So every class has very similar changes. They're not all the exact. Some classes haven't been hit the same way as others, but just keep in mind that it might seem a little unfair that your class is now losing abilities that you feel are central to your character, but all classes are being hit fairly equally. So at the end of the day, most classes are just coming out with like, yeah, you're going to have slightly less options for defensives and mobilities, and you're going to have to deal with a lot of those fights being more annoying as a result. The main thing is you're going to have loadouts, so it's going to be very easy now to be able to swap around. There really isn't much else I can say to prepare you for this other than I'll definitely be working on making some videos showing you what I think are some of the best ability tree choices as we start learning about them when more players start playing on live, and what I find out and hear from other players about different classes, how their rotations change. Let's look at some of the cool quality of life changes. So one of the things that I really do like is they've got this new thing with the Conquest where you can actually bring up the heroic mission. This is really nice. Now you can access them through here. Now, because they've changed how they're doing weeklies, only certain places will have weeklies available to them. So right now, there's only 4 planets that have a weekly bonus for heroics, and then 2 daily areas. There's a few more kind of nifty things that they've done with the UI that I like as well, quality of life. I'm not sure how exactly I feel about this change to the inventory window. They've redesigned your whole character sheet to be this dimensional, lots of different things going on at once. They've made a few things a little bit worse, sadly. Titles. As of right now, this is where you find titles. A lot of people have been having trouble finding where they are on the PTS. It's this little icon here. One of the things that I really do like though is how the abilities are now done. So I can have the abilities here with the skill tree, or I can just bring up the separate abilities window on its own. They've combined everything for Sage now. It's no longer telekinetics and Sage or balance and Sage, it's just all Sage. So that's a great little perk. The only thing I don't like right now is everything's sorted by the level you gained it at, but there is a search bar, so if you actually know the name of it, you can search it up directly. All right, so let's take a look at how shared tagging works. We are not in a group. I have quit the group. As you can see, you leave the group. Nothing popped up, but these irradiated rackhools, they are something that we're trying to progress the quest on. So as you can see, defeat irradiated rackhools 1 out of 5, even though he attacked first and we're not in a group. So shared tagging is something that's really awesome. It's not going to help with every single thing that you're going to do, but in general now it's really nice knowing that when you go out into open world areas, you don't have to be the first one to attack a group of enemies to get credit for them. The important thing to note though is you have to hit each enemy in the group to get credit. So we'll take a look at how it goes on this enemy group here. So what I'll do is I'll make sure that I only hit that enemy and I will not hit the irradiated raccoon. So that irradiated raccoon, I did not shoot it at all, so therefore I did not get any credit with the shared tagging system. So a big change that's coming for the new player experience, creating new characters, new alts, stuff like that, is going to be the combat styles being decoupled from the story. So right now you can see I am in the Imperial Agent ship. You'll actually see that I'm set to an advanced prototype power tech, so same as Tactics Vanguard. So one of the big changes that's going to be happening with how you level up and experience your class with the new combat style stuff is you no longer actually go to a trainer to train these abilities. They're going to be automatically granted to you when you get to that level. And they've also really changed at what level you're going to get everything. I'm currently at level 23, and you can see it's a pretty decent amount of abilities. I found there were a couple little bit of a lulls until I hit 23. All right, so we just leveled up to level 24, and it's a little bit glitchy when I go look at the actual level requirements for the different abilities. So it says level 25, but that's not actually the level you're getting that ability at. I know some classes, they definitely feel better, and some classes still feel pretty poor in terms of just very slow release of abilities. So I definitely do like the way that they have implemented the system of being able to choose your story and then being able to choose what combat style you want. So when you go with a tech story class that's related to the tech users, you get to pick between the available tech classes. So you can play, doesn't matter if you're Imperial or Republic. Now the Force users, there will be some limits. We've talked about this in a previous video. If you are not already at Dark or Light 5, you will definitely not be able to pick all of these styles. So you want to do that first if you want to be able to create a character. There is going to be a restriction around combat styles as well. I've covered this before. And the general idea is that if you want to pick your second combat style, you have to have finished Act 3, this unlock here. So if you open up your Legacy tab and you go to the Imperial class or Republic class, find the story that you're currently playing on. And as you can see, it says it's available to me. And I can now click that and launch the mission. And then I can select a second combat style for myself from the available, the list is actually off screen, you can't see it, but let's say I want to pick Mercenary as my other one. It's going to give me this little bit of a cutscene just showing how you hold 2 different weapons. So one of the other things that I'm going to cover just a little bit here, it's not information that's going to help you prepare for anything, but it is something that's been interesting on the PTS, is the way they've changed level scaling. A lot of the content will be level 80. But when you're on planets, you're still going to be locked down to that planet's level, and they've changed how your territory stats work. You actually get your stats scaled down, and then you get a percentage based on being at the appropriate level. And so far, everything that I've tested on the PTS that has actually been rescaled to the appropriate level, I'm finding that in general it's a little bit harder than I'm used to it being when I play on live. So they did tell us that the new gear that you get at item rating 308, 310 will actually be weaker than wearing your 306 gear and everything, hence why I suggested avoiding actually putting on any new gear or upgrading anything until you hit level 80. Right now I'm playing on a character that I copied over straight from live. He is now been leveled up to level 76, but otherwise it's the same character, all the same gear, haven't changed anything else. And I'm definitely finding this content's just a little bit harder than what I'm used to, although it's not super bad. But yeah, there are definitely some nice quality of life changes that are coming our way in terms of the combat style decoupling, the shared tagging in open worlds, the new loadout system. Hopefully it is bug free when it shows up. And they have made a lot of changes to how the gearing system works so that players are no longer going to be having to sort through a bunch of gear and finding out that pieces that drop are useless. Although the new system definitely has some flaws on its own, and you'll want to check out my video on the gearing that's going to be coming out probably around the end of January for that one. As always, thank you everybody, have a great day, and we'll see you in the next video.